enabling groups of people to achieve their goals. Pretty simple. Very soon after I graduated, when I started working at the State Department, where, group meetings are important, and then in venture capital and corporate leadership positions, human dynamics are like everything. And getting people to do stuff is about, 1% about the strength of your argument and, 20% about your power, and then the rest about how you make people feel. Do they want to, go the same direction? And so that is something that, I would have benefited a lot from, better understanding. I got to learn it by mistakes, which is a good way to learn. He was fantastic at saying thank you to people. He had great, their conventional leadership skills. Not everyone has them, but they're good to develop. Remembering people's names, remembering people's family members, or whatever, people, if you want to lead people, it helps that they believe you know them and care about them. And I think he did. But I spent the last 6 months of his life as his family caregiver when he came down unexpectedly with a cancer diagnosis. And, it was hard. And he was amazing at, just kind of glowing with happiness to see from the lowliest health aide to the doctor and nurse, but see them do good work, but thank them, remember their names and tell them thank you. And that is a powerful skill. Recognizing people and thanking them is a really important leadership skill. I am an early stage investor, meaning I typically put up the first dollars of any size in a company. Usually it has some revenue under $1 million, but it has not built out a full team. It has a first iteration of a product, but there's a lot of incomplete. And I work mostly in healthcare, what we now call digital health, but technology-enabled healthcare services or information tools, not drug discovery or medical devices that are really about a product, and also in education technology. These are sectors where they're not consumer-driven sectors, they're highly regulated, and they're third-party payment. The insurance company or the government pays for healthcare. The government or parents pay for a high percentage of education. So it's a little bit of it's different from a lot of other parts of venture capital, but there are a lot of different parts of it. The most important thing, it's pretty easy to figure out, okay, is this a good idea or a bad idea? Can it work or not work? The hard question is, will it sell? Because you got to sell to these giant organizations or education bureaucracies. And the ability and tenacity of the founder is important. I think it's important to everything. The real magic of COPE, to me, and I think to my dad, was, we thought about what makes the law school special. And the most special thing, at least as we understood it at that point, was the admissions. You wind up with a pretty interesting mix of folks who have a lot of different motivations and are not all determined to be lawyers. They're going to do, at least they're open to doing other things. Some of them are very financially oriented. Some of them are driven by family needs, by community needs. Anyway, there's just, it's a diverse set of motivations. And we thought, how, if we're going to make a, investment in the law school that is meaningful, how do we take advantage of that really special thing? And so we worked with Guido, and he drove it. But the definition of the COPE program as not a public service law program, not as focused with any kind of substantive description of what you could do, but any work that a graduate chooses to do that pays less than X, they get the chance to do it, or at least they don't get imprisoned by their debt. They're not barred from that. I think humility is very important to be a good person. I think it's very important to be perceived as authentic, to be understood, and to often to be able to ask people to do extraordinary things, extraordinarily difficult things. The sort of the paradigm is the military officer who leads from the front. That's an expression of humility, not I'm so important I get to be the first one in front of the bullets. It's an expression of I won't ask you to do anything that I won't. There's a leadership trait that very humble people have to learn. You have to be, as a leader, you have to be willing to decide, and you have to make decisions, and that often means calling the ball in a way that other people won't. Taking unpopular steps, doing things that many people think are wrong. Enthusiasm, tenacity, and courage in tackling whatever the issues of tomorrow may be. It is a special place. It is a cohort that can have a catalyzing effect in a positive way. Some percentage of people who turn out to be great leaders, some who turn out to be great scholars, great historians, and great lawyers.